goes. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting English extravaganza. It's the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Now get ready for liftoff. Let's go, folks. Lots to do today on our English adventure. Come on. Get pumped.
Ignition.
Motívate.
Liftoff.
Come on.
Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Here we go.
Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelts. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your
And
hats.
get ready for the ride of your life.
The show with no name time. On Vaughn Radio. It's the show with no name.
Let's go, 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 go. Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome to another English class. This is the show with no name here on Vaughn Radio. And this is a place where English has to be exciting. It's also interactive. Well, you should be interacting in your English class, right? Participation is part of any class. What a tongue twister. Participation is part of any class. Ya estamos jugando con los sonidos, playing with sounds. You know we'll end up singing a few times during today's show. Well, we sing in every show. And one of the ways I love teaching people English is through music and movies. Thus, y por eso, thus, T-H-U-S. Thus, the sections name that movie and name that lyric. Plus a lot of other sections inspired by pop culture. What's going on? The vocabulary you need to know, and all the different situations. So we try and look at a little bit of everything. You know, you call it magazine, right? Un tipo de programa que un poco toca todo, ¿no? Well, we call it a variety show. So if you could give the show with no name some kind of category, I guess, if you have to categorize it, it's a variety show. And interactive English variety show. I think that's a good description of this show. This 2-hour show. Fijaos, 2 hour ahí es adjetivo. No metemos la S. It's not a 2 hours show, sino a 2-hour show. That is our first common mistake of the day. Well, remember this, when you're using a number, and that number is the adjective. So a 4-story building. Un edificio de 4 plantas. We don't say, aunque es 4 plantas, 4 stories, because if somebody says, how many stories does that building have? Well, you could say it has 4 stories or 4 floors, right? Or you can say it's a 4-story building, which would actually probably be much more common. So these little mistakes that we need to iron out, as I always say, hay que planchar, quitar estas arrugas que tenemos en el inglés. And that's normal. I mean, it's normal. When you're learning something, you're going to have areas where you need to pay special attention. And if it's a common mistake, it's because a lot of people have made that mistake. You know, I always tell my students when they say, oh, people is, I'm like, otra vez. And then they're like, I know it's my mistake. I go, no, it's not. It is everybody's mistake. It's a very common, and as I always say when we talk about this topic, mistakes, the most common ones in my experience, and that's over 20 years now, come from direct translation. You know, even my highest level students occasionally say, it depends of, and I'm like, oh, hang on, hold the phone, you know, hold your horses, relájate para el carro. But that's not the way we say it. But again, this is how we learn. And if you never open your mouth, then you're never going to learn. So you have to, quote unquote, take risks, arriesgarte. right? You've got to. Okay, let me try and say it. And again, this is what I always ask my students when they're like, well, what happens if I make a mistake? My next question is, yeah, what happens? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Yeah, you're fine. You move on. You try and explain it in a different way, right? It's not the end of the world, especially if somebody hears you speaking with an accent. Then I imagine if they're a smart person, they'll say, well, this person, English might not be their first language. All right. Now, as I always say, you come across all kinds of people. You come across the folks that are very, very helpful, very friendly. You're like, man, I wish everybody was like that. And then you get the other people who are like, wow, who hurt you? Como decimos en inglés, ¿quién te hizo daño? ¿Quién te hirió? Herir? That's a very difficult verb for me, herir. Who hurt you? Be careful. There's another one I've heard mispronounced. If we're talking about common mistakes, another pronunciation one. ¿Cómo se dice doler? No hurt, no hard, hurt. Imagínate, the best way to do this is, I always think of Valle del Jerte. Well, lo suavizamos, right? Hurt, right? And that, I remember also my first class. You want to go back, take a trip down memory lane. My first class, I remember my student, they were trial classes, where you gave classes to people who worked in the Vaughan offices. And this was a way for you to get practice, to get some feedback. You would get evaluated as well. And I remember Eva, I still remember Eva. Incredible, right? My first unofficial student, because she was never my student then, it was just, they were practice classes. And she rated me very well. I'll let you know the end of the story now. But how did we get there? She came in, she's like, es que no puedo pronunciar la palabra corazón. Corazón. Bueno, tampoco lo puedes pronunciar en español si lo dices así. Corazón. I'm just kidding. So I said, oh man, this is going to be hard. My first, I just started teaching a minute ago and I've already got questions coming at me. And do I have the answers? Because, of course, anytime you're starting out, you don't know. You're a little bit unsure, inseguro. Even if you've done your homework, it's natural. It's normal to be a little bit nervous. And I'm like, oh, man, okay, here we go with the questions. I didn't know it was going to start that quick. And she wasn't, she was being honest. She's like, nobody's been able to teach me how to say that. And then I'm like, okay, and I wrote on the board the word J-A-R-T. And I wrote it on the board and I said, now I want you to say this word, but I want you to say it a lot softer. And she said, what? I go, well, don't say heart. Say heart, like mucho más suave. No tan, it shouldn't be plosive. And she said it perfectly the first time, the second time, the third time. And after that class, she's like, you cured me. Oh my God, it's a miracle. You never forget those things, but my point, there are common mistakes that are going to come up all the time. Don't worry. Here on Vaughan Radio, my colleagues, along with yours truly, un servidor, we've seen them, we've heard them all before, and we'll help you improve. The only way, though, that you can improve is by taking those risks, by trying to leave your comfort zone. And as I always say here on the show, things that we can apply to English, I think we can apply to any aspect of our lives. All right, well, folks, I know we've got a lot of stuff to do, so why don't we rock and roll with today's Say What soundbite. Come on.
Say what?
Get up, get up. All right, folks, welcome to your Say What soundbite. You know how this works. We're going to hear a famous person speaking right now. You will hear this audio clip a total of 4 times here on the show. The first time, give me your feedback. Just tell me what you heard. And hopefully, and many times, by the 3rd or 4th listen, you got 4 chances, somebody will be able to give it to us word for word. Consider it a listening exercise, an exercise on taking dictation, an exercise on expressing yourself in English concisely, clearly, right? There's so many different things we can get from this Say What soundbite. You know, I want to make sure you're making the most of it. And speaking of making the most of things, let's talk a little bit about our question of the week. This week's question of the week, I think it's a fun one. I already asked my wife, I asked my daughter, my niece and nephew. So let's hear your answer. What's the most addictive game in your eyes, in your book, en cuanto a ti? So what is the most addictive game for you? You can choose video games, board games. There's no wrong answer. Funny thing, and I'm not going to give you the answer because I don't want to, I don't want to give you any ideas. I want you to think about it. But my wife and I had the same answer. And neither one of us, you can say neither or neither one of us are big video game people. So, it's interesting. And it's a video, bueno, te acabo de soplar eso. I just gave that part away. It's a video game. So, what is the most addictive? It could be a card game. Look at card games. Poker. You don't think poker's addictive? A lot of people with gambling problems out there. Oh yeah. Poker and any game. In fact, games, I think these days have been made to be more and more addictive. Correct? And I think they actually have, people who study it. Like, how can we make this game more addictive? Because right now the war that's going on is for people's attention. They want your eyeballs, as they say in English. No quieren tus ojos. Facebook, Elon Musk, these guys, Jeff Bezos, just stay on Amazon all day. That's what they're looking for. So, all right. Well, my amigos, I hope you participate. It's our question of the week. What is the most addictive game for you? Maybe it's one from your childhood. Maybe it's one that you're playing currently, actualmente. But either way, I urge you to participate in this weekly speaking section. It's a great opportunity to practice expressing yourself in English on different topics, and I will be here to help you. That's right. I'm here to coach you and say, okay, cuidado, esto lo has dicho bien, esto tenemos que retocar. So make the most of it. I'm offering you free help with your speaking. It's free. No, you don't have to pay anything. You send an email with the voice note that you record on your phone, and that's it. And you wait till Friday, and on Friday's show, we'll listen to everybody's, and I'll give you my feedback. That's the most I can do to help you guys with your speaking, which again, I think that's the part that people lack the most, que carecen de lo más, ¿no? Oportunidades para hablar. So you've got one every week. What is the most addictive game as far as you're concerned? En cuanto a ti. All right. Let's see. What have we got to do? Oh, right. I've got to give you the Say What soundbite. All right. Here it is for the first time. We'll discuss it, and then we'll take a look at our pop quiz. Here we go.
Where should I put my things? I don't see a dresser. Do you have any hangers? I can put my things in this tiny closet.
Alberto, estoy leyendo un cómic y me estoy dando cuenta de que todas las onomatopeyas que salen son verbos en inglés.
Of course, man. We love making it easy.
Por ejemplo, aquí pone chomp y está un animal masticando.
Sure, to chomp.
Es mascar, ¿no?
Sí, mascar. Y lo haces con tus piños. Your chompers.
Ah, chompers es los piños grandotes, ¿no? Vale, y to click, por ejemplo.
To click. Well, to click is what you do on a computer. You click. Pinchar.
Perfecto, pinchas con el ratón. Claro, tiene sentido. To gulp.
Well, before I was gulping my soda. Gulp, 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 gulp.
Claro, estás tragando como un pato.
Eso es, no es lo mismo que sip.
Bien. To thump.
Thump. Don't thump your fist on the table. No des un pum, pum. en la mesa.
De hecho, el conejito de Bambi se llamaba Thumper.
Eso es, todo tiene sentido en inglés.
Claro que sí, por eso hemos hecho el tercer libro de This Book is the Milk, que se llama This Book is the Shit. Este libro es la leche. Por Alberto Alonso
Y Damián Moya.
Así da gusto aprender. Y lo sabes.
And you know it. That's right, folks. This book is the shit. You can pick it up at Von Tienda. Also, a huge shout out to our friends at Casa del Libro. I know I mentioned them a lot. And I don't have a favorite yet. You like Amazon, Amazon. You like the Von Tienda, whatever's easier for you. I imagine everybody's got a different situation there, but I am always so happy with our friends at Casa del Libro. In fact, it was my wife's idea. I won't take the credit. We were at the mall the other day with my daughter. She loves climbing and rappelling. That's one of her new hobbies, and she really enjoys it. So that's besides the point. Eso es otra cosa. But I wanted to look at that vocabulary. No climb, sino climb. No, escalar. Climbing and rappelling. I don't know how you say that in Spanish. Escalar y bajar o ascender. Climbing and rappelling. I think we use a French word. Rappel sounds very French to me, if you ask me. Well, the point being, we were at the mall. And what was I going to say about being at the mall? See, I knew this was going to happen because it always happens. Every time I go off on a tangent, I got to find where I was. And we were at the mall and... I totally lost it, folks. I lost where I was going with the we were at the mall thing, but it was my daughter. My wife said something, and then oh, man. All right. Well, I'm glad we have a lot of stuff to look at. If it comes back to me, I will let you know, but it totally slipped my mind. What was the point? ¿Qué iba a decir? See? Guys, son cosas del directo. Or I was going to tell you something, and then I totally... Oh, there it is. We're back. It was my wife's idea. We were walking by Casa del Libro. Ahí estamos. Gracias, Hilo. Gracias, Dios. And my wife said... She goes, why don't we check out Casa del Libro? Look, it's right there. And in this way, Lara can see your books. And I was like, nah, come on. Let's get to the car. Let's get home. We're in a rush. And she goes, no. She said, all right, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we just go check? And this way, Lara can see her daddy on the shelves at the Casa del Libro. So we went in there to the part on, there's a section language learning, idiomas, I think. So we go over there, and sure enough, we saw about 4 or 5. I don't know if they had all 5 of my books. I think there were 4 of them. Either way, it was great. And Lara, when I grabbed the books off the shelf, she was like, what, Dad, that's you. And that's Damian. And I'm like, yeah, even though she's been to the book fair. But for her, the fact that we're at the local mall and her daddy's books are on the bookshelf, she was pretty excited. Now, her other side, her envious side was like, where are my books? And my wife said, I didn't know did you write it? I didn't know you wrote any books. So, and we told her, we said, well, hey, if you want to write a book one day, you can write a book. Maybe you can even write one with Daddy. So, but it was a really nice moment. So what am I getting at? A shout out to Casa del Libro. We've been working with them for years, decades now. And they've always treated us really, really well at Casa del Libro. We've also done events there. I've done numerous events at Casa del Libro. So even though I'm always telling you, you can get it at Von Tienda, don't be afraid. Casa del Libro will welcome you as well. And they're friends of ours. They've always been wonderful friends. And I know personally, even though I don't even work in the editorial department, but I know we've always had a very nice relationship with them. In fact, a shout out to Raul, and Raul is the guy who runs the Gran Via Casa del Libro, which is amazing. I mean, that was, I have to admit there. Yes, the other day at the mall, I was like, all right, wow, I'm at the mall. But I remember when I was in the window in el escaparate on Gran Via, my books, my image, and I said, wow, oh my Lord, this is an amazing moment. So again, special shout out to those people who take care of us in life. It's really important if they, give you importance, if they, give you a good positioning, your book, and they've always done that and more. And in fact, another book I saw there is the one we're going to look at in today's pop quiz. Vaya segue, vaya transición. It is Word Maps. It's by a great friend of ours, somebody who is not with Vaughn anymore, but he still lives in all of our hearts, and he still lives in Madrid. He's doing fine. It's our friend Richard Brown. And today we're going to take a look at a little excerpt from a book called Word Maps. It was based on his radio show where he takes one word and he rips it apart. He tears it apart. He dissects it. So let's listen to this little audio clip. And then, as always, I'll have a couple questions. This is Word Maps by Richard Brown.
The verb stand. To stand, you know the verb to stand, whose basic meaning is, bueno, estar de pie or ponerse de pie. So it can describe a state. You can be standing or you can stand. Yeah? Ponerse de pie. And of course, just the basic verb is used alongside or in conjunction with quite a lot of different prepositions anyway, without changing the basic meaning of the verb. For example, you can stand in front of someone in a queue. You stand in a queue and you stand in front of someone. I can stand in front of Nacho. So if I'm standing in front of Nacho, then Nacho is standing behind me. I can stand on a chair. Yeah, if I want people to listen to what I'm saying, I might stand on a chair, or I could stand in a box. Yeah, I don't know why I would want to stand in a box, but there we go. You could stand in a box if you wanted to. And the important thing is having the choice, knowing that whenever you want, you can stand in a box. If that's what floats your boat. Si lo que te gusta. We can stand next to someone. We can stand beside someone. Sin la S. Because besides with an S means moreover. It means además. I just wrote it wrong on my word map. I wrote besides, but anyway, it's beside. Yeah, you stand beside someone, which means exactly the same as to stand next to someone. You can stand under. I don't know, under a balcony. Yeah. So we use the verb to stand with quite a lot of prepositions on a regular basis without changing or modifying the meaning of the verb to stand. Another example is to stand up, which means exactly the same as to stand. Ponerse de pie. Yeah, to stand up. Stand up. Ponte de pie. Poneros de pie. Stand up, please. All right. What we're going to do now, however, is look at a whole bunch of phrasal verbs with the verb to stand as the stem, with a whole series of other prepositions where the two together make for a completely different meaning that has nothing to do with estar de pie o ponerse de pie. No tiene nada que ver. It has nothing to do with. No tiene nada que hacer con, como decimos nosotros. It has nothing to do with ponerse de pie o estar de pie. For example, stand around. Yeah? Don't just stand around. Do something. If you're just standing around, it means you're doing nothing. Yeah, you're always standing around doing nothing. Come on, do something. Act. So that's to stand around. Then you can also stand aside. Now, we have a good example of this in Spanish politics, yeah, in the political context of very recent times, to stand aside the example of the now President Mariano Rajoy, he stood aside.
Step aside, folks. Step aside or stand aside. Wow. I'm so excited. I can't stand it. I'm mixing songs up. But yeah, stand es soportar. Stand es estante. Oh, it's a rich word. And we're going to tear it apart when we come back. So stick around. Come on. Let's go, 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 go. It's the show with no name. Welcome back, folks. This is the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. Hope you're laughing as you learn. And don't forget to stay tuned today because you can continue to learn with Ale on her program, Speaking with Confidence. After Ale, you got my buddy Rob Grams. He hosts the Pro Bow Show first thing in the morning when the rooster crows. Cock-a-doodle-doo. But also, when it's time for a much-needed break, he'll guide you through lunchtime on the Lunchtime Show. Followed by Speak English with Ruby. And don't forget about Let's Get Random with Jules Linares. And Dave Boyce, man, he is a machine. Dave Boyce and the Salad. And Kyle Miller, the Driller. El Instructor Militar. Miller the Driller. You got him every day on your commute home in the Drive Time Show. And then you got the soothing sounds of Chris Frank in his program, Frankly Speaking. But don't forget about Jessica Fernandez and the Hour to Empower. If you want to work on so much more than just your English, you want to work on bettering yourself, there's nothing like the Hour to Empower with Jessica Fernandez. And of course, how could I forget the one and only Richard Vaughn and Richard Vaughn Live. And preceding this show every day, you've got No Excuses with Fitz, an amazing master class where you learn the ins and outs of the English language with our master teacher trainer, Fitz. Not many people can get an hour with Fitz every day, an hour of class, but you can if you tune in to Vaughn Radio. Remember, you can listen to us on our app. Also, wherever you get your podcasts, you can download this show or any shows that we have because they all go over to iVox, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I know because I receive on Apple Podcasts, that's the one I use. I always receive the, Show with No Name Part 1 uploaded because I get a notification. I like to know. I like to see that everything's coming out. Also, I know you guys too. If you see that there aren't any new episodes, normally you guys will contact us and let us know. Sometimes it's a technical issue, and sometimes, maybe you didn't see it or something like that. All right, well, let's rock and roll because we do have tons of stuff to do. So we're going to listen to our Say What soundbite right now. I'm going to give it to you for the second time. And this is a voice that many, many, many Americans, and I would go as far as to say British people and Australian people will be familiar with this voice. But that's not the important part. The important part is telling me your take, tu opinión, and hopefully getting it all down, apuntándolo todo. Here it is for the second time.
Where should I put my things? I don't see a dresser. Do you have any hangers? I can put my things in this tiny closet.
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah, wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damian, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the shit. That's right, folks. This book is the shit, available at vaughantienda.com, Casa del Libro, Amazon, and wherever fine books are sold. But today we're looking at word maps. This is a book by Richard Brown. You can pick it up for 15 euros. Okay, $14.95. 15 euros. For 15 euros, it comes with audio, as we just heard some of the audio. And you look at all kinds of things in here. You look at idiomatic expressions. You look at some phrasal verbs. And it is an amazing material, especially because Richard Brown really, really gets into it so that you really know the meaning behind the verb, not just the word per se. All right, let's see what I want from you guys. Now, obviously, all of them are going to have the word stand in them in some way. All right, let's see what we've got. Now, the first one is to be remarkable, to be noticeable. You say resaltar, sobresalir. Okay, so we've looked at this one many, many times, so you should know it. I know this is definitely one that we've looked at. Okay, so you'll at least be familiar with it. So, destacar, I think, might be another way to say that as well. Destacar, resaltar, sobresalir. That's your first one. Obviously, use it in context. Talk about something or someone que sobresale. All right? The second one, and I love this one. I learned this one when I was doing the scripts for FYI, for your English. You guys know I have a podcast called For Your Inglés. I'm not producing it now, but you can still find it. It's on all the podcast platforms. So if you'd like to go back and listen, there are tons and tons of episodes. And I learned the word perdurar. Otra vez, tiene la palabra stand. Los tres de hoy del pop quiz tienen la palabra stand en común. So perdurar, right? Something that's still awesome years later, decades later. You know, a movie like The Godfather, part 2. Oh, that's a great one. You know, that you see it, or a song, you know, or a person, you know, somebody's career. La vida profesional de alguien, ¿no? Ha perdurado este grupo, ahí siguen. Okay? It's an idiomatic expression. We'll see if you're familiar with it. Again, it has the word stand in it. So I'll give you have a clue with all three of them today. Okay, and the last one, and I know you should know this one too if you're a regular listener of the show with no name. And this one is significar. And you can use whatever acronym you want. USA significa United States of America. EU, I almost said it, significa European Union. Okay? And you guys want a knock-knock joke in the meantime? All right, this is one I did with my daughter. Yesterday, we were looking at jokes together. Sound familiar? We were doing You're Joking. All right, knock-knock. You know how to say it, right? Do you know what to say? I hope you know your cue. Tu pie, tu entrada. Knock, knock. Who's there? Tú dices, who's there? And then I always say something. So in this case, I'll say Europe. And then you siempre, whatever I say, you say that más who. Okay, so knock, knock. Who's there, dirías? And I say Europe. Y tú dirías, Europe who? Y yo ahí diría, no, you're a poo. I'm not a poo. Otro. We love knock-knock jokes. Podéis buscarlos como knock-knock jokes. So they're like call response, like in church, you know, like yo digo algo, tú dices algo, right? Okay, so knock-knock. Te toca. Your turn. Who's there? Okay, and the next one I'll say is boo. And you say, boo-hoo. And I'll say, you don't have to cry. Boo. All right. Those are knock-knock jokes. We were looking at them yesterday. All right. So you got 3 challenges in your pop quiz. They all contain the word stand, which is an irregular verb. We'll take a look at that as well. In fact, let's look at some of the phrasal verbs in the meantime and a couple expressions that I think you need to know. Stand up, you know. Right? Ponte de pie. Stand up. But if I say stand up for yourself, what am I saying there? I'm saying, you know, defend yourself. Don't let people walk on you. Right? Sería la expresión. Don't let people walk on you or walk all over you. ¿Te suena? These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. Oh, one of these days, these boots are gonna walk all over you. Boom. Boom, boom. So stand up. Stand up for yourself. Si ponemos el for is defender, right? Are you the kind of person that stands up for yourself? Do you stand up for what you believe in? Tus convicciones, your beliefs? Stand back. Everybody, please. There's a fire. Stand back. Del contexto ya lo has pillado. Un paso atrás, ¿no? No os acerquéis. Stand back. Here's another one, standby. We have people waiting on standby. Listos para ayudar, right? Firefighters, you say bomberos. They're on standby. They're waiting and ready, okay? To stand in for someone. Well, I'll give it to you in context, and I'm sure you'll get it. When she was on maternity leave, one of her colleagues stood in for her. Le reemplazó, no? To replace someone temporarily. Okay? Stand down. This one sounds like it comes from the military, but it's used. Stand down, soldiers. Stand down. That means abandona. Deja de pelear. Stand down. Did you know that? I know you know stand up. Get up, stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. But did you know stand down? It means don't take action. Stop. Okay, to stand around. That's one that Richard Brown, looked at in the audio. And we looked at it the other day, but not with stand. We looked at it with sit. Same meaning. What are you going to do? Just sit around? What are you going to do? Just stand around? Just lie around? Significa hacer nada. Cuando añadimos el around a esas palabras, significa no tomar acción. Okay? I'm sick of you sitting around or standing around. Ahí ya cambia. No es estar de... La parte importante ahí no es estar de pie, ni estar tirado, ni estar sentado. Es que around es sin moverte, sin hacer mucho. Holgazanear. Oh, I never get that word right. So just so you know, that around there has nothing to do with actually standing. It has to do with not taking action. All right. And again, if you understand the preposition, the relationship between the prepositions and the verb, the main verb, well, you know, si tú sabes out, muchas veces significa lejos, well, it gives you more understanding, a deeper understanding of how these sometimes illogical phrasal verbs can work. We also looked at some expressions. I can't stand. No lo soporto, no lo aguanto. I can't stand losing. I can't stand losing. You don't stand a chance. You know what that means? You have zero possibility of success, right? No tienes ni un voto, no te va a pasar, no vas a tener éxito. You don't stand a chance with her, right? She's beautiful, you're ugly. I'm just giving you examples. To stand your ground. Piénsalo, your ground es tu terreno. Do I have to tell you what it means? What I like about her is she doesn't back down. She stands her ground. That means she is someone who is firm on what she believes, and she refuses to change her position because she can stand on her own 2 feet. Otra expresión súper buena. She's independent. If you can stand on your own 2 feet, that means you don't need anybody's help unless someone is standing in your way. Now, I don't think I have to tell you this one. You know, you're in the way. Well, if you're standing in the way, estás en medio, right? And another usage of the word stand, además de un puesto donde puedes poner ahora un estante, also, because newsstand, piénsalo, es estante de noticias, de periódicos, right? A newsstand, que vosotros lo llamáis un kiosco. But that is where I stand on this issue, donde me posiciono, right? That's my opinion. Y se puede usar como sustantivo. My stance is similar to hers. Se escribe stance. No, mi opinión, mi posición. My stance is exactly the same as hers. All right? So that's a little bit more understanding of this very useful verb to stand. And we're going to take a look at you guys now. We're going to look at 3 more meanings, or uses, I should say, in our pop quiz. Let's go on over here to our chat room and see who's in the house and ready to rock in our rockin' English class. There's Chris Valrol checking in, fichando. She says, morning, dear folks, and thank God for inspiring our teach. Hallelujah. My daughter loves that jingle, by the way. Me hace poner esta canción 3 veces al día. Well, it's an inspirational song. And then she asked me, she says, Daddy, what does hallelujah mean? I mean, it means yee-hoo, woohoo, awesome. I said that would be the translation of hallelujah. Awesome. Woo. You know, when you're excited about something, you say hallelujah. And that is quite a beautiful song, isn't it? So thank you, Chris, for being an inspiration to your fellow students every day. All right. She says also, participating in our Say What soundbite, I heard an American woman searching unsuccessfully for her things in a closet that must be quite messy. Great observations. Fantastic. And careful with the word closet. A que parece que lo tienes que pronunciar closet. No. Close es cerrar. Close, vamos a decir esto. Close the closet. Close, cierra. Vamos, juntos. Close the closet. Close the closet. So absolutely. And messy. Messy. That's a word we use pretty often. Not just the word messy, but also the word mess. What a mess. This place is messy. And not just because desordenado porque hay mierda por todas partes, but also, man, you're a mess. What's wrong with you? Get it together. You're a mess. Last night you were really messy. That means drunk and not acting right. So it's got many more uses than just desordenado. It's a great word, very rich word, and also one of the most famous footballers, if not the most famous footballer in the world. Messi. Ahora se escribe la palabra en inglés con Y, no con Y latina. All right, let's see. Chris says, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up. Don't give up the fight. Oh, another phrasal verb. So we've got get up. That means levántate. Don't sit around. Don't lie around. Get up. No seas vago. Get up. Stand up for your rights. So uno está diciendo, álzate, levántate. Toma acción. Right? No es literalmente levántate en esa canción, ¿no? Because it's a song about protest. So if you think about it, lo último que quiere decir es literalmente levántate. Que está, levántate, haz algo. Get up, stand up, defiende tus derechos. I know it's a song that everybody knows, but have you ever stopped to think que no es literalmente ponte de pie? It's the figurative usage of stand up, as we just saw. So excellent, Chris, finding it in the music. Let's see. Born to Iron Man, another one who loves music and always finds these structures and these phrasal verbs in songs as well. Born to Iron Man, he says, morning, friends. Morning, buddy. Hope you are doing well. All right, let's see what we've got over here. Chris says, BTI stands out in the SB, in the spelling bee. Gotcha. Yes, absolutely. Destaca. Resalta. Born to Iron Man stands out in the spelling bee. I don't think anybody will argue with that statement. Esa afirmación. Totally agree. All right, the next one. Excellent example, Chris. This show has stood the test of time. Oh, you're going to make me cry. Well, yeah, over 16 years. Jeez Louise. So, well, that's thanks to you guys again, to our viewers, to our listeners, to the people who get the crazy English I like to teach. You know, the people who get that I'm a little bit quirky, poco convencional, and, you know, that's the way I do things. But I firmly believe that you got to have a great time, not just in your English class, in life. You know, it flies by. We might as well enjoy every second of it. And I apply that in my life. I try to, and I try to remind myself of that in my classes as well. So thank you. Thank you, Chris. You really made my morning there. Thank you. You know, you don't think about it. You get up and you do what you have to do, but sometimes you don't stop and think, wow, the show with no name has stood the test of time. Y la expresión es to stand the test of time. Excellent, excellent job. And the last one, she says, BTW stands for, by the way. BTI stands for Born to Iron Man. Great, Chris. I love it. You're feeling it this morning, huh? Feeling the funk. Feeling the funk. Excellent, excellent stuff. Let's see. Born to Iron Man's got something to say in today's pop quiz. And he says, no doubt. Yesterday, Matthew, excuse my pronunciation here, Matthew van der Poel stood out. Ok, aquí, pero por esto es justo porque queremos usarlo en contexto. Stood out from. Te falta el from ahí, pero es perfecto porque si no lo hubieses puesto, no habríamos sabido. Right? So, perfect. So he stood out, punto. Pero si tenemos que poner, comparándole con quién, he stood out from the rest. So excellent. Born to Iron Man, your mistake has shown us the light. True. Porque, claro, la de Chris es correcto, pero no lo ha usado igual que tú. And that's great. So Van der Poel stood out from the rest of the cyclists at the UCI Cyclocross World Cup in Benidorm. Sounds like fun. His records will stand the test of time. Wow. I love it because you're actually applying it to real life. Genius. Genius, my friend. All right. And the last one, his records. We already said that part. By the way, BT Dubs or BTW, UCI stands for Union Cycliste Internationale. UCI. Well, at least it's not a UTI. What? Well, what's it? Ask me, Alberto, ¿qué significa UTI? Alberto, what does UTI stand for? ¿Lo has dicho bien? Genial. What does UTI stand for? Urinary tract infection. Yeah, nobody wants a UTI. It also reminds me of ICU if you flip the words, because UCI for you guys is Unidad de Intensivos, right? Well, for us, it's ICU, Intensive Care Unit. And I will see you in the next part of today's show. I can't believe it. We're halfway through. Are you freaking serious? Jeez. All right, folks. Tons to do in the second half of today's show with no name. So stick around. Yeah. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. This is the second half of today's show with no name. Thank you for joining us every day here on the show. We've already gone through an hour. And okay, yeah, we've looked at a lot of vocabulary. We looked at the many, many uses of the verb and the noun stand, right? We've also looked at many other words as well, to sit around, to lie around. And we've got much more to do in the second half of today's show. Also, folks, mark your calendars for our first Vaughn Radio Trivia Night of 2026. We are all really excited, I can tell you that. And that is for February 3rd. That's right. February 3rd, 2026. I always say the year. Well, we play repeats. February 3rd, it's a Tuesday. And it's our free Vaughn Radio Trivia Night. Come hang out with your teachers, your fellow students, your friends, and your friends-to-be. Amigos que todavía no lo sois, pero lo seréis. To be. No, cuando estás comprometido con alguien, we say my wife to be. No, futura. I guess the translation would be mi futura mujer, my wife to be. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it be far nobler to I don't remember the rest. All right, amigos, we are going to kick things off with a little bit of wordplay in a section where we take a look at words that can sometimes be a bit confusing and throw students off. But we are going to clear them up here on the show with no name on a little section we call Homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones, homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name.
The show with no name. The show with no homophones. Show with no name. That's right. Welcome to our homophones section here, where we're looking at some words that may or may not sound the same. Now, contrary to many of our homophones that we look at here, usually they're one-syllable words, like burn and barn, and night, caballero, and night, noche, right? But this one, 3 syllables. So this is, let's say that this one is not your average homophone, because usually they're the short sounds that people have trouble with, right? Those words, like I said, hurt, heart, they can be a bit confusing, especially to beginner students or students who haven't had much exposure to that vocabulary word. All right, so the first word is principal in Spanish. The foremost es otra forma de decirlo, okay? The foremost idea, the initial would be a good way to say it too, the initial idea, okay? So it also is director de un colegio, de un instituto, el director o la directora, right? In English, it can be either one, okay? También es en finanzas, el principal, right? The capital sum, okay? So it has to do with the main, el principal, right? It has to do with director, also has to do with finance, when we talk about el principal, lo que se busca. Okay, so that is your first word. And your second word is principio. So a basic rule. Okay. We were talking about you got to stand up for your morales, tus principios. Well, that's the word, principio, right? Also is ley, una ley natural, ¿no? En la ciencia. Moral, principio, okay? Procedimiento, okay? That's another word, that's another usage of it. Método or procedimiento, okay? So the first one, again, is principal, director, capital, principal, en ese significado también. And the second one is principio, ley, moral, procedimiento. All right, those are your 2 words. What are they, and do they sound exactly the same or not? Also, let me give you today's Say What soundbite. I'm going to give it to you now for the 3rd time. Here goes.
Where should I put my things? I don't see a dresser. Do you have any hangers? I can put my things in this tiny closet.
Nunca he entendido por qué a la gente le hacía gracia el personaje de Spider Cerdo de la película de Los Simpsons. Es que no tiene gracia.
¿Cuál dices? ¿Spider-Ham?
Spider-Ham,
Es graciosísimo en inglés.
Claro, tiene todo el sentido. Es como araña jamón.
Eso es.
Claro, tiene sentido que sea un cerdo. Y su identidad secreta es
Peter Porker en vez de Peter Parker.
Ah, claro, tiene sentido. Porker, que es como...
Porker es un gordito y viene de pork, que es cerdo.
Ah, tiene todo el sentido del mundo. Así da gusto aprender con This Book is the Shit, el 3er libro de Alberto Alonso
y Damián Moya.
No te pierdas nuestro método Milky. Vas a aprender un montón porque en realidad ya lo sabías todo.
Oh, yeah, that's right, folks. You can pick up that book wherever fine books are sold. All right, well, we've got tons to do over here. So why don't we take a look at your homophone answers? I see we've got a few people who are participating over here. Let's see what you guys came up with. All right, the first person to take a stab at it, o por decirlo de otra forma, to have a go at it, is Chris Valrol. And she gives us the two words correctly, spelled correctly. That's the first step, because if you give me two different words, then I can't even go on to step two, right? We've got to be talking about the same words here. All right, so Chris, we've got the same words in mind, and you say they are homophones. Okay. Let's see. Born to Iron Man gives us the two words correctly written as well. And he says they don't sound alike. Oh, this is exciting. I love it when this happens. Well, folks, these words are definitely homophones. Yes. Ooh, don't worry, Born to Iron Man. No worries at all. I just wanted to add a little excitement to it there. Okay, so let's say the words. The first word is principal. Principal, okay? Our principal was very nice. Era muy majo. He wasn't like Principal Skinner in The Simpsons, right? And to skin is despellejar. Think about that. It's a pretty crazy name, all right? So principal. Also, the principal idea, the main idea is good. I like it, right? It sounds good. Well, we're gonna start the business, but we've got to make sure that we pay off the principal plus the interest. Okay, to pay off the principal, the capital sum. And we looked at the word sum the other way. Speaking of homophones, sum, S-U-M, and sum, S-O-M-E, sound exactly the same. And sum, S-O-M, is cantidad. Okay. So principal. And I remember the teacher, even our principal, I think it was Principal Waldo was his name. And he said, guys, remember the word principal is not spelled principle, right? He wrote it. He said it's principal, even though it sounds the same. And he goes, and how do you know which one it is? He says, because I'm your pal. I'll never forget it. I was in the auditorium. We had the school auditorium, and I think it was even his welcome speech to us. And he goes, I'm your principal, tu colega, tu amigo. See how, I always try and teach you guys these little tricks, these little ways of remembering things, because they really work. If you can remember where you learned something, you'll never forget it as long as you live. So thanks, Principal Waldo, for telling us he's our princip. Because I imagine an American speaker, especially if you haven't been in school in decades, and you got to write the word down, and you write down principal con P-A-L en vez de principle, right? Because, well, the idea is just figuring out which one you need, right? And again, if you haven't written it in a while, you might forget. So principal, P-A-L, colega, amigo, that's the director. That's also the one that has to do with money. And the other one, my principles, my beliefs, the things that I will stand up for para unirlo con lo de antes. So excellent job, Chris Valrol. Born to Iron Man, don't worry at all. That's how we learn, right? That's the main idea, or should I say, that's the principal idea. All right, well, we've got a lot to do, so why don't we move on to our next section, Wacky World Records.
Wacky World Records. These are the wackiest records in the whole wide world.
That's right, folks. Wacky World Records. And I'll tell you something, folks. I was recording with my daughter the other day. Sometimes she likes to come into the studio, and you guys you want me to brighten your day? ¿Queréis que os alegra el día? All right. Well, I'll play this little audio clip because she comes in here. I was playing that's why, as I told you, she loves the Alleluia. She loves the obviously the fart sounds and los pedos, of course. That me too. That shows you my maturity level, that of a 6-year-old child. All right. Well, here to brighten your day, and before we take a look at our wacky world records, who was my assistant for that. That was my daughter, Lara, as you just heard in the jingle. Here she is singing the Huntrix song, Golden. I'm sure you've heard it, whether you like to or not. They're playing it everywhere. And I think it's the most viewed content on Netflix ever. It's K-pop, and here's my daughter's version.
I was a ghost, I was alone, to watching, cause again, I'm the throne, unknown, to believe I was a queen that I meant to be. I lived to life, trying to be both sides, and I couldn't run my own place. Can I pat that chow? Cause I got too well, and that's cause I'm getting there. And she'll say, no more hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be. Cause
We are Huntrix.
Voice is strong, and I actually believe we're
Going up, up, up. It's our moment. Gonna be golden. Gonna be golden. Oh, there it is, folks. If that didn't brighten your day, I don't know what will. The sweet sound of a child, and she harmonizes pretty well. I've got to tell you something, as somebody who knows a bit about this, that is not an easy song to sing. And there are even lines in there in Korean. So it's there's English in there and there's Korean. All right, well, folks, get ready to have your mouth water. We're going to talk about one of the greatest things ever invented. No, I am not talking about electricity. I'm not talking about the motor vehicle. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about one of the greatest things ever. It's 2 syllables that everybody loves to hear, and it's pizza. Oh, yeah. Do you love pizza? Oh, man. In my house, we are pizza geeks, frikis de la pizza. And if you guys know me, I'm of Italian descent. So my mother's family, her maternal family was from Sicily, and her paternal family was from Naples. So I've got the Italian thing in my blood. Plus, where do you think a lot of these Italians went at the turn of the century? To New York. De hecho, you know the joke? Why are so many Italians named Tony? Because on their suitcase it said to NY, to New York. So I'd like to say New York is an extension. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. We talked about Connecticut the other day here on the show, and we talked about how good their pizza is. So those, if you want the best pizza in the United States, okay, I'm not talking about Italy, and they're different. You're talking about New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, what we call the tri-state area. So there's no surprise here that these records today, because I got 2 today that have to do with pizza, come from New Jersey. Okay, from the tri-state area, but specifically from New Jersey, or NJ as the abbreviation is. Now, New Jersey is also famous for its tomatoes. Did you know that? New Jersey tomatoes. So I guess the equivalent would be like Almeria, right? So the largest collection of pizza-related items. Okay, items are the efectos, cositas, So this is a place in Union County, not far from my university. Union County isn't too far from New York City. And there's a place called Pizza Girl. Okay. Pizza Girl, it's a cool name for a pizzeria. You can say a pizzeria, a pizza parlor, es otra forma de decirlo también. And just don't say pizza, right? Pizza. I've heard people say pizza, but I always say pizza, nice guy. Pizza. Pete is a pizza nice guy, and he loves pizza. Son homófonos, eh? So this is in Union County. I had a lot of friends from that area, Union County, when I was in college, as I said, maybe because my university was near there. Now, I don't remember the place called Pizza Girl, but Telina Kupari has amassed amasado, masa. Oh, God. The world's largest collection of pizza-related items. And, well, in 2021, she broke the record initially, and she had 669 different pizza items. So we're talking about memorabilia, things like that. Sin ese, memorabilia. We're talking about, all kinds of things that you can find. A cheese grater, whether they're old cooking things or maybe old signs, letreros. And in 2023, she decided to up the ante, subir el listón, and she got more things. She acquired a total of 793 pizza-related items. Call it Pizza Heaven. It's already got a name. It's Pizza Girl. Again, it's located in Union County, New Jersey. So what's another thing New Jersey is famous for, aside from its tomatoes? It's pizza. Also in 2020, in Monmouth County, New Jersey. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is further down south, más al sur, menos cerca de New York City. Because there's a whole portion of New Jersey, which is technically like, New York City. It's across the river, if you think about it. So this guy, Randy DiGregorio, folded 18 pizza boxes in 60 seconds. So he had the flat cardboard. Okay, the cardboard is, you say, papel de cartón. And he's a delivery guy, a pizza delivery guy. So I guess he just kept timing himself, cronometrando, right? He's saying, okay, got to get faster, until one day he got the Guinness World Record. Again, another guy who's in New Jersey, in Monmouth County, and 18 pizza boxes in 60 seconds. He is a delivery driver for Mezzaluna Pizzeria, and he beat the former record, which was held in Italy. So this brought the record across the pond, and the former record was 14 pizza boxes folded, doblados, in 60 seconds. But now that record has been shattered, and it is now 18 pizza boxes in 60 seconds. I told you your mouth was going to water after this section, but it's a good thing it's time to move on to another section. Today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
All right, folks, welcome to our Spelling Bee here on the Show with No Name. As you know, the Spelling Bee is probably one of the most challenging sections here on the show every day, and especially today because we're looking at numbers too. So good luck. Don't worry, though, you do get 2 chances. Here's round 1. The first one is Newark. and the population there is 317,303. The second one is Jersey space CITY, and the population there is 302,824. The third one is PATERSON, and the population there is 160,463. The next one is LAKEWOOD, and the population there is 141,985. The fifth one is ELIZABETH, and the population there is 140,413. And the last one is EDISON, and the population there is 110,002. Wow. If you got that, I don't know what to say. You definitely stand out, not just here, but in any spelling bee, even with native speakers, because in this one today, we've got numbers, letters. Ooh. So we'll see. I'll give you another 20 seconds or so, and then we've got to go into round two. But obviously, these are places and the population of each respective place. All right. Going once. Give you another 10, 20 seconds there. Going once. Going twice. All right. Here we go, amigos. Round two of today's spelling bee. As I said earlier, and as I always do, I will definitely slow down in this round. All right, here we go. The first one is NEWARK, and the population there is 317,303. The second one is JERSEY space CITY, and the population there is 302,824. The third one, PATERSON, and the population there is 160,463. The fourth one, LAKEWOOD, and the population there is 141,985. The fifth one, ELIZABETH, and the population there is 140,413. And the last one in today's extremely tough spelling bee, EDISON, and the population there is 110,002. Folks, we have got to go to our final commercial break. I can't believe it. We're looking at tons of stuff on the show with no name, as we always do. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Some phrasal verbs sprinkled in with some music, with some idiomatic expressions, a little bit of everything. All right, folks, we'll be right back with much, much more. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the fourth and final part of today's show with no name. Thank you so much for joining us every day here on the show. This is a place where English is exciting, or at least I try and make it that way. That's my goal, my objective every day, to teach you, but also make it fun at the same time. All right, let's take a look. Born to Iron Man, taking a stab at today's extremely difficult spelling bee. And let's see. Born to Iron Man, you got a little mistake there in the first one. Now, I'll let it slip. To let it slip means lo dejamos si no hay otro. All right? Because basically you put a space where there's no space. Has puesto un espacio donde no hay espacio. But let's see. If the rest are fine, we'll take it. So let's see. The first one, yes. The second one, yes. The third one, yes. The fourth one, yes. The fifth one, yes. And ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Born to Iron Man. Great job. You had just one little extra space in there, but that's no problem. A little nuance. And the words were all the most populous cities in New Jersey. Well, why? Well, we were talking about New Jersey today in our, which one was it? Our Wacky World Records. But also today in 1787, New Jersey became the third state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. So number one was Newark. All right. No, it's Newark, right? A lot of people say Newark. And this one is known by many international travelers. Why? Because of Newark Liberty Airport, se llama. It is horrendous. Okay. In fact, one time when we looked at airports on real reviews, I used that one. Okay. It is, if you do not have to go to Newark Liberty Airport, do not go. Avoid it, even if you have to pay a couple €100 more for your ticket. It is not worth it. All right, first things first. Now, JFK is better, not much better, but definitely better, more organized. So Newark and the population in Newark, New Jersey, which Newark is a huge city. It's right next to New York City, and it's huge. I mean, you feel like you're in New York because there are people everywhere, tall buildings. So Newark is the closest thing in New Jersey to look like New York City as far as a city, right? That urban feel. And Newark also used to be, I don't know if that's still the case, used to be the car theft capital of the world. Eso es, vaya, a beautiful, shining city, the car theft capital of the world. El capital de robo de coches del mundo. That's right. Newark, New Jersey, on the map. The population, vamos a decirlo, 317,303. 317,303. The second city was Jersey City, right near Newark and across the river, the Hudson River, from New York City. So many people who work in New York City and still want to live in a city, but not in New York City, but they want to be close to New York City, they live in Newark and Jersey City. Again, there are very nice areas, but also some of the areas, there's a lot of crime, and it's kind of a ghetto as well. So Jersey City is number two in the population, 302,824. 302,824. The third one is where my mother was born. That's right. Paterson, New Jersey. There's also a movie called Paterson, New Jersey, and it's also on the map for many other reasons. It was a very famous city. Now it's kind of, seen better days, como decimos, but it was a very important city in the Industrial Revolution in the United States. And the population in Paterson is 160,463, 160,463. The fourth one's Lakewood. I've heard of it, but I can't tell you too much about it. Lakewood, but there are lots of lakes and there are lots of woods in New Jersey. Hay muchos lagos y hay mucho bosque también in New Jersey. So it sounds like the perfect place for New Jersey, and that's 141,985, 141,985. The next one also, it sounds, I don't know if I've been there, but it sounds very urban. So like Newark, like Jersey City, Elizabeth, Patterson, I wouldn't recommend you stay in any of those places. You get a hotel if you go to New York City, obviously. So Elizabeth, even though they're all pretty close, Elizabeth has 140,413 residents, 140,413. And last but not least, Edison, which I think is pretty nice, if I'm not mistaken. Edison, named after Thomas Edison, by the way, has 110,002. So eso sería 110,002. Yeah, y dos. No hay 100, no hay 50, ahí es dos. All right, so excellent job. Born to Iron Man. One little slip up, but we're going to let it slide because you did a wonderful job. All right, it's time for today's Double Trouble. Yeah.
Come on, trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is.
Give it up. 2, 3.
Double trouble.
Come on, baby, baby. Come on, baby, baby. Come on.
Double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for today's Double Trouble. Yeehaw is right. This one has to do with vaqueros. No, not jeans. The ones that inspired the name vaqueros. All right. So el vaquero tuvo que llevar, navegar, dirigir al cabestro. There you go. Okay. So el como se dice, el vaquero tuvo que llevar, navegar, dirigir al cabestro. Okay? That is your, a ver, cabestro. I think that's the word. A ver si lo tengo bien. Yeah, a castrated bull. Okay? Un toro castrado. Okay? Cabestro. It's a weird name in Spanish. Me sonaba raro. Okay, so el vaquero tuvo que llevar, dirigir, navegar al cabestro. That's your double trouble. You have to use the same word twice. Good luck. Also, let me give you today's Say What soundbite. Here it is for the fourth and final time.
Where should I put my things? I don't see a dresser. Do you have any hangers? I can put my things in this tiny closet.
¿Te gustaría abrir puertas a nuevas oportunidades y estar listo para cualquier desafío? Con el máster de inglés del Grupo Vaughan podrás transformar tu futuro. Este programa intensivo te ayudará a dominar el inglés profesional, perfeccionar tu comunicación y ganar la confianza que necesitas para conseguir tus objetivos. Nuestros profesores Vaughan especializados te prepararán para afrontar en inglés todas las situaciones de comunicación en un entorno profesional. No dejes que el inglés sea una barrera. Invierte en tu futuro con el máster de inglés profesional del Grupo Vaughan. Llámanos al 91-133-5833 o entra en grupovaughan.com.
That's right, amigos. More information about the masters, about Vaughn Disney English or Disney Vaughn English, call it what you will. You've got also your one-to-one classes. You've got everything, groups. And whatever you're looking for, online courses. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, right now we've got a special deal going on, 50% discount for the month of January 2026 on some of our online courses. So take a look. You could save tons and tons of bucks. All right, let's take a look. The cowboy had to steer the steer, said Born to Iron Man, and he was right. Excellent. Come on, guys, this way. Now this way. Y a veces, ya lo sabéis del coche, we talk about the wheel or the steering wheel, right? Esto sería el volante, you say, right? So the cowboy had to steer the steer. Excellent job. Nice. Tuvo que dirigir al cabestro. Excellent. Let's see. Chris Valrol figuring out today's unbelievable. You guys are on fire. Chris Valrol and today's Say What soundbite. Check it off the list. All right. Well, we've got a lot more to go over here. So why don't we keep things moving with today's Name That Movie? Name That Movie. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at today's Name That Movie. And today we are going to Texas. Hey, there's some kind of cowboy thing going on here today, isn't there? Some kind of Western theme going on, Southern or Western or what have you. Southwest, I should say, Southwestern. All right, well, here we go. I'm going to give it to you in my Southern accent while we're at it. All right, a town's sheriff and regular patron of a historical whorehouse fights to keep it running when a television reporter targets it as the devil's playhouse. Oh, my Lord, this is getting interesting. So, a town's sheriff de un pueblo, and a regular patron. Now, a patron is somebody who goes somewhere frequently. He is a patron of that bar, right? Patrons. It's another way of saying comensal, gente que va a un sitio, que acude a un sitio. He's a regular patron. Now, you can also say he's a regular. Oh, he's always in that bar. He's a regular or a regular patron. So he's a regular patron of a historical whorehouse. Now, the word whorehouse is casa de putas, but you could say brothel. Es un poco menos descriptivo. Brothel. So historical whorehouse fights to keep it running. And running there is in business. When a television reporter targets it, le tienen el punto de mira, to target, como verbo. When a television reporter targets it as the devil's playhouse. Okay? The devil es el demonio, and a playhouse is teatro, casa de, no, como un sitio donde juega el demonio, vamos a decirlo así. All right, it's a movie that came out in 1982. And ladies and gentlemen, looks like we've got ourselves a winner on our hands. Please give it up for Chris Valrol. All right, Chris Valrol. The movie is called The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. That's right, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And it's a movie that stars Burt Reynolds, Dolly Parton, and Dom DeLuise. And this movie came out, as I said, in 1982. Now, I've got to admit, I've never seen this movie, but why don't we take a look at some of the, a little scene from the movie. Howard K. Smith says on the evening news, o sea, está dando la noticia, legalized prostitution, pro or con, is in the news today. For a report, here is Jeff Gerald in Gilbert, Texas. So it's the news anchor And he's cutting to one of his reporters. And Jeff says, the chicken ranch, el rancho de las gallinas, the legendary long-running Body House. Now, long-running es que lleva mucho tiempo en operación. And body, B-A-W-D-Y, es lewd, obsceno, indecente, right? The long-running Body House is showing little activity after the disclosure yesterday of the Thanksgiving night raid. Now, disclosure, vamos por partes. So yesterday there was the disclosure, la divulgación, la revelación. So the disclosure of yesterday's Thanksgiving night raid. And a raid es una redada. Vamos, que entraron la policía en la noche de Thanksgiving and they raided the place, right? Una redada. R-A-I-D. And then Deputy Fred says, get away. And Jeff Gerald says, the deputy at the front gate, en la puerta principal, keeps away onlookers. Onlookers, gente que está mirando, no testigos. So onlookers and potential customers. While up at the house, the doors are closed and the principals are not talking. Now, this is another use of principals, but here is the principals, los jefes would be the usage. We looked at the word principal in today's homophones. Now, this usage is a little more outdated. We'd say the chief, the head, pero antiguamente principal no era solo director de cole, sino los directores. Así que en este uso, pero yo no lo enseñé así porque no es, as you said, some movies, even though they stand the test of time, the vocabulary doesn't. So he says, the sheriff of Gilbert, Ed Earl Dodd, refused interviews, while in Houston, the man who launched the campaign, consumer advocate Melvin P. Thorpe, held a press conference this afternoon. And a press conference es una rueda de prensa. Folks, it's time for your joking.
Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar. You're joking.
All right, who's ready for some cowboy jokes? Well, I figured we were down there in Texas at the best little whorehouse. And, well, I figured since we looked at the cowboy who had to steer the steer, well, I figured I would tell you about the new movie I'm making. Yeah, I'm making a new cowboy movie, a Western movie, and it's called The Sun. That's right, The Sun, El Sol in Spanish. And, well, it's set in the West. Oh, no. You get it? No. I'm making a new cowboy film called The Sun, and it's set in the West. No, it's set, está ambientado. It is set. Where is the movie set? It's set in the Victorian age. So, but also the sun sets, se pone el sol. You get it now? So I'm making a new cowboy film called The Sun. It's set in the West. Ambientado en el oeste o se pone en el oeste. All right, one more for you. How did the cowboy know his cattle were following him around without even turning around? All right, so how did the cowboy know his cattle? Cattle is his reses, ganado bovino. How did the cowboy know his cattle were following him without even turning around? Well, he heard them. Oh, no, I didn't. He heard them. A herd is rebaño, manada. Herd es oyó. He heard them. También es el verbo, poner en rebaño, poner en manada, mover en manada, ir en manada. He was herding the sheep. And then I heard him wake up this morning. There's another homophone for you. That's right, folks. How did the cowboy know his cattle were following him without even turning around? He heard them. All right, it's time to move on to famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Oi, oi, oi. Birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, folks. It's famous birthdays. We got 3 ladies celebrating a birthday today. 3 awesome ladies. Number 1, she wants you to take another little piece of her heart now, baby. Take it. Take another little piece of my heart. My daughter loves this artist. Well, all 3 of us in my family. Well, even I think all 4 of us. Even Kike likes this artist. So she did Summertime, time. Summertime. She did Cry Baby. Boom, boom, boom. Cry Baby. And also, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? Probably one of the coolest singers in rock and roll, one of the raspiest voices ever. Unfortunately, she died young. She was in the 27 club. People who died at 27. Next up, I think she's immortal. She seems like she'll never die. The Queen of Country. That's right, the Queen of Country music. And working 9 to 5 ain't no way to make a living if you lose your mind. She was in the movie 9 to 5, aside from being a multi-platinum selling artist. She was also in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Hey, so I just said her name. Yeah, and her first name is Muñeca. And she has her own theme park. And I'd love to go. It's really cool, they say. And last but not least, this talented actress and voice actress, I should say, porque trabaja con la voz mucho, was born today in 1954. She was originally known for playing Peg Bundy on Married with Children. You know, Married with Children. Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage. So that's just one of her roles. She also made it really huge on the show Futurama, which was done by Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, where she plays the voice of Leela on Futurama. But she's been in so many things: 8 Simple Rules, Sons of Anarchy, and so much more. And her voice, I mean, her voice, I'll know it. I would know it even if I got amnesia. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a winner. Please give it up for Chris Valrol. Number 1, Janis Joplin. Take it. Take another little piece of my heart now, baby. If you haven't heard, I'm sure you've heard Piece of My Heart. If you haven't heard Me and Bobby McGee, that's a country song. It's beautiful. Busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train, and it's feeling good as my way. I forget the lyrics right now. Beautiful song. Me and my Bobby McGee. Check it out. It is beautiful. That's Janis Joplin. Number 2, Dolly Parton. And number 3, Katie Sagal. And Katie Sagal is, as I said, the voice of Leela on Futurama. And this is a little excerpt in today's Say What soundbite of Futurama. You say Futurama, we call it Futurama. And this is her moving in with her crew. Okay, va a entrar a vivir con ellos. And she's seeing already that moving in with guys is not a good idea. Okay, she's like, wait, where do I put my things here? This is full of crap. It's messy, to use the word that Chris used. All right, so she says, where should I put my things? I don't see a dresser. A dresser is un armario para ropa. Do you have any hangers, perchas? I can put my things in this tiny closet. And tiny is pequeñísimo. Here she is, birthday girl, Katie Sagal, playing Leela in Futurama.
Where should I put my things? I don't see a dresser. Do you have any hangers? I can put my things in this tiny closet.
Folks, excellent job as always. Thank you so much for joining us today and every day here on the Show with No Name. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Don't forget to participate in our question of the week. It's a fun one. What is the most addictive game in your book? And we're going to say goodbye right now with Take Another Little Piece of My Heart Now, Baby. And that is Janis Joplin, birthday girl Janis Joplin, a legend, somebody who died far too young, but her music has stood the test of time. Thank you, folks. Ciao for now.